Chainsaw Man was practically inescapable in the anime community when it was airing. Whether it was the endless amounts of fan arts or memes or controversy, it was everywhere. That's not a surprise considering that Chainsaw Man was probably one of the most hyped up new animes ever before its release. And there's one main reason for that. It is an adaptation of an incredibly well written and drawn best selling manga of the same name by our favorite levitating mangaka, Tatsuki Fujimoto. But now that the first season is complete, the question is, does the anime live up to the masterpiece that is the manga? Before that, though, there is some well needed context behind this adaptation. It was animated by Studio Mappa, who have been on a bit of a hot streak recently with anime you might have heard of, like Jujutsu Kaisen and Attack on Titan. The director for Chainsaw Man is a very talented individual by the name of Ryu Nakayama. This is his first time helming an entire series as director, but has proven himself many times in the past, especially with his work on Jujutsu Kaisen, notably directing the standout episode 19. Not only a very strong animator in his own right, but he's also someone who had exactly the amount of creative vision and industry connections to bring this adaptation to life. Now, to start with, let's talk about how the anime looks. In terms of the character designs, they opted for a much more cleaner looking style than that of Fujimoto's. So while it's not the most accurate depiction of the manga, I think it still ended up being a good choice and looked great. The overall art direction similarly went for a much more realistic, almost live action movie look and feel to it, which I really enjoyed since Fujimoto's love of film is very apparent to anyone who's read his work, and sometimes his panels can even feel like you're looking at a live action storyboard. Also, getting to see the different depictions of characters from various directors and animators was extremely interesting to see. Moving on to how Chainsaw Man actually adapts the story of the manga, which is one of the main reasons that so many people were drawn to his work in the first place. The first season, consisting of 12 episodes, covers about 39 chapters and does so in a very precise and economic fashion. The pacing follows the manga closely in the way that the plot barrels forward at a very fast pace, but also includes strong character acting and development in the quieter moments in between. The anime takes a lot of liberties in adding some really strong anime original moments that go very well with the original manga, and at times even helps elevate some of its characters. A perfect example of this is in episode 4, where we see an exceptional minute long sequence showing off Aki's rather normal, mundane morning routine. In the grand scheme of things, it's a very minor scene that doesn't add much to the plot, but it's one that, because of its great direction and beautiful character acting animation, it pulls you right into Aki's world and makes you feel like you slowly understand him a bit better than you did before. The anime also does a fantastic job of expanding on material in the manga in the way that only the medium of animation can in order to elevate scenes. Like in episode 1, the sequence of the zombies chasing Denji was only a few panels in the first chapter of the manga. But in the anime, it's expanded to be a full minute-long chase sequence with exceptional character acting animation from animator Kuki Fujimoto that leads to Denji's desperation and helplessness sinking in a lot better than if it was as short as the manga presents it. Overall, the anime follows the actual story in the manga pretty closely as it should, and does a good job of presenting it. Naturally, anime is an animated medium with sound, which adds a whole new layer to what an adaptation can offer. Chainsaw Man does a fantastic job of using this to the fullest in order to complement the original manga and give its characters and key moments more life. One of the obvious things is voice acting. I'm mainly going to talk about the original Japanese voices, as that is what I watched it in, but having heard some of the dub, I can tell it captures the characters extremely well too. The voice acting in Chainsaw Man is incredibly well done, especially considering that most of the voice actors are relatively new in the industry, which is the case for the voices of Denji, Aki, Power, and Makima. To begin with, the voice of Denji fits perfectly to how I envisioned him speaking while reading the manga. He's got that crass vulgarness to his speech, but also this almost childlike naivety that makes his character interesting. Aki, on the other hand, has that satisfyingly cool as fuck voice, while also having the range to deliver on some of his more heavier character moments. Power's voice fits perfectly with her over the top personality and nails all the hilarious aspects of her character. Makima, on the other hand, has this very soft spoken and gentle voice that is almost entrancing, and while I remember some people before the anime release being apprehensive about this choice, I think it ended up being the right call, because it captured that enticing aura so well that it makes you almost want to obsess over her as much as Denji. I think pretty much all the characters had very fitting voices for their personalities, especially so for ones like Kobani, Himeno, and definitely not Mads Mikkelsen. Another aspect of where the anime uses the full potential of its medium is in regards to the music. Composed by Kensuke Ushio, the score was as haunting, beautiful, and epic as it needed to be in every scene that it was used. A great example of this is the Chainsaw Attacks track, which plays in a lot of Denji's fights, that both creates a lot of hype and has this roughness to its sound that fits perfectly with the chaotic and visceral way that Denji rips through his enemies. Speaking of that, one of the main elements of Chainsaw Man that you have to mention is the action. Though first, let's address the elephant in the room. Now, I know there was a lot of uproar about the use of CGI and people acting as if it ruined the anime, but I'm firmly in the camp of thinking that it was fairly good. Not perfect by any means, it is pretty noticeable in some scenes and very well integrated in others, but overall, I never really felt like it dampened my enjoyment of the show, and they complemented a lot of the 2D action quite well. It is also important to remember that with the way fights were done in the manga and the types of character designs involved, As well as a rumored tight production schedule, the CGI was probably more of a necessity given the circumstances than a creative choice. Leaving that though, the rest of the action in the show is incredibly well done. There were a lot of very talented animators from across the world that worked on many of the fights throughout the anime, and it definitely showed. I think they were pretty much all done justice to how they were portrayed in the manga, like with the Eternity Devil scene. In the manga, you get these amazing panels depicting Denji ripping through the Eternity Devil, and it's art in moments like this that I was initially worried that the anime would struggle to adapt, but those worries were quickly put to rest when I saw the scene. Combined with the hardcore ending theme from a few episodes ago and some great animation, this scene is perfectly portrayed to capture that same rawness and chaotic feeling that's evoked from the manga. Also, the fact that this much effort went into scenes of characters getting their balls kicked just shows that the animators knew what the people want to see. So, to conclude, while not perfect, the Chainsaw Man anime is absolutely a fantastic adaptation of its source material that effectively captures the essence of the original while also bringing its own unique elements to the table. Plus, the best of the manga is yet to come, so I personally can't wait to see what the second season and beyond has to offer.